here, it's painful here, I don't like it here, this isn't so bad. Here I can pay my bills. I don't have what I want. What I want might be a lot of wealth and abundance, but here it's okay. Here I'm kind of comfortable. It's not bad here. Ever thought about that when people say, it's not bad? What does that actually mean, not bad? It's not good. It's not bad. It's not bad anymore. So motivation declines. And then the person realizes, well, I don't really have what I want. I'm not where I want to be. But I'm not there anymore. And unconsciously, because they're focused on what they don't want, they will recreate the drama that started them here in the first place. So this is the person who makes a lot of money, loses a lot of money. Loses some weight, gains some weight. They yo-yo back and forth on what they want and don't want. So we say focus on what you want. If what you want is over here, this is all the good stuff. If I'm focused on what I want, I'll be motivated until I get here. It's sustainable motivation. So you have to focus on what you want. Let's say we're going to go on a trip. Would anyone like to go on a trip? Yes. Yeah, I would, sure. How do we get there if we don't know what we want? We don't know where we're going. You have to know what you want. Now the second key of goal achievement is that your goal has to be totally congruent with your self-image. Your self-image is literally the picture in your mind when you think of yourself. How do you see yourself in your head? That's your self-image. And if your goal, if what you want isn't congruent with that, if you don't see yourself as a person who could possibly achieve that thing, you won't get it. Now your conscious mind, and you might know this, you might not know this yet, but you have a conscious mind and an unconscious mind. Your conscious mind is the goal setter. That's the part of you that says this is what I want, or this is what I don't want. And your unconscious mind is the part of you that goes and gets it. So if your unconscious mind can't see you as the person who creates that, or has that success, or that money, that career, that marriage, you can't possibly have it. Because your unconscious mind doesn't know how to do that. It only knows what you're directing it with, which is the picture in your mind. So you have to have a self-image that's congruent with what you want. So what if it's not, though? What if what you want over here isn't matching the picture in your head? Well, you have two choices. One, you can change the goal. Make it something totally realistic for who you are right now. Now, I don't suggest that. I think that if you do that, then by the time you're 90, 95 years old, looking back on your life, you might not be very satisfied. If you look back on your life and you've never had it the way you wanted it, it's not very satisfying. So what I say you do is you upgrade your self-image. You upgrade the picture in your head to match the person who achieves that thing that you really want. And then you can do it. Now let's say we're going on our trip. And does everyone agree that Hawaii would be a good place to go?
Yeah.
There. So let's say the plane takes off. The plane takes off 1 degree off course. Just 1 degree. And the pilot never course corrects. Where would we end up?
Japan.
Maybe. It could be Fiji. It could be the middle of the Pacific Ocean. We don't know. We don't know where we would end up. 1 degree of difference. If a pilot never course corrects, we don't know where the plane ends up. That's like having 1% of doubt in achieving your goal. So if there's like, I think I can kind of do that, but there's this little bit of doubt in the back of my mind, that's setting you off course. We don't know what you're going to get. We don't know where you end up. So what creates those doubts are limiting beliefs and limiting decisions in the past. That's what shapes our self-image of who we see ourselves as right now. So we say we let those things go. We let go of that stuff. That's the work that I do. And another way to do that is visualization. Practicing visualization every day to see yourself as the person you want to be who achieves the thing that you want. So, key number 1, focus on what you want. Key number 2 is your goal has to be totally congruent with your self-image. Now, number 3 is persistence. So has this ever happened to you before? You have a really big goal, a big dream, and you're working towards it, everything's going really well, and then, bam, something happens that gets in your way. An obstacle. Has that ever happened? Is that just me? Yeah. So I call this the universal challenge line. It's like when you're so close to it, you can see it's right there, and something happens to throw you off course. And And maybe it looks like, I don't know, like this. So it's like this. Say I want to get to the back of the room, and have an obstacle. It's in my way. I can't do anything about it. Right? What can I do? What do people do? Sit down and have a rest. Yeah, take it with them. This is my obstacle. Yes. This is my problem. And then they make it part of their story.
Oh.
You see my obstacle?
Oh, no.
You see it? Like I could have gone back there. What could I possibly do? And I know this seems silly because this is just a stool, and obviously I can move it. I can walk around it, but that's not what people do in real life. That's not what they do. They make it part of their story, and they tell everyone about it. It's already like that. I know, right? They make it part of their story, and then you hear them say things like, "Oh, if it wasn't for the economy, if it wasn't for my spouse, if I didn't have these bills to pay, if I didn't have children, if I went to a different school, if I grew up in a different environment, if my parents were different, if I didn't have this health issue, I could have been X. I could have been something." You've heard that before. You might have even said those things to yourself before. Walt Disney applied for financing 302 times. Did you know that? Before someone said yes. 302 times. That means 301 bankers said, "No, we don't believe in you. That's a terrible idea." So imagine if he quit at 301 before going to the 302. How many rejections would you take before giving up? Would you go to 302? 301 people said, "I don't believe in your dream. You can't do it. It's impossible. You will never be successful. You will never make money." Imagine having that kind of persistence to keep going through that. Now, I have a theory. And my theory on obstacles is this. My theory is that the bigger the goal, the bigger the dream, the more you want it, the bigger the obstacle. It's almost like you have to prove to yourself that you're worthy of having it. You have to go through the challenge to get it. So I say, well, actually, I have a secret. Do you want to know the secret to not having obstacles?
Oh, yeah.
Would that be helpful? Okay, here's the big secret to not having an obstacle ever again. Don't set a goal. Right? If you don't want obstacles, don't set goals. You'll never get what you want. You might not be very satisfied when you're 95 years old looking back. You won't achieve anything. And I don't know anyone who wants to be successful at achieving nothing. You'll never have another obstacle again. So what I say is this: instead of getting scared, giving up, when you see an obstacle in your way, get excited. Get really excited because it means you're going somewhere, you're on the right path to something, or it wouldn't be there. So get excited about obstacles. They're like flag posts on the path saying you're on the right track. Go. Keep going. It's this way. If you never have one, where are you going? Now we're on our plane to Hawaii, right? We all agree we're going to Hawaii. And has this ever happened? You're on a flight somewhere and the pilot comes on and he says, "We're going to be 30 minutes late. We're running a little later than scheduled." What happens? Does he say this? "We're going to arrive 30 minutes late. Guys, I'm a failure. I'm the worst pilot in the world. I'm going to give up my career right now. I'm 30 minutes late." Does he say that?
No.
I hope not. But that's what we do. "Oh, this got hard. I'm going to give up. It's not happening exactly how I wanted it. It's taking longer than I wanted. It's not as easy as I thought." So we give up. So 3 keys to goal achievement. Number 1, what is it? Focus on what you want. Number 2, know what you want. Congruence with your self-image. And number 3, persistence. Absolutely. Now I have a little gift for you to help you with this, to help you change your self-image without being something you're interested in. Good. For any of you who are are interested, I have an audio download. It's a self-hypnosis recording that I'd like to give you for having me here today. And it's all about visualizing your success, seeing where you're going, and visualizing your perfect day. Would that be of interest?
Yes.
Perfect. For anyone who wants that, just make sure I have your card or your email before we leave today, and I will send that to you. Thank you so much for having me here.